Rain hissed against the windshield as Claire Duval, 34, gripped the steering wheel until her knuckles whitened. The hotel's neon sign flickered through the storm like a pulse she couldn't ignore. She'd told herself it was just a conversation. He needs advice, she'd said. But the reservation confirmation on her phone told a different story. One room, two names, hers and Daniel Keats, 36, married. Charming and dangerously kind, with words that made her forget boundaries. As thunder rolled, her heart matched its rhythm. Every choice she'd made in the last 3 months now pressed into her chest like a secret too heavy to carry. Would you forgive someone if the truth was worse than the lie? She cut the engine, rain blurring the glass, the reflection of her face fractured by each droplet. Somewhere inside, Daniel waited, and the line between confession and betrayal was about to vanish. An hour later, the rain softened to a whisper against the window pane. Claire's coat hung over the chair, damp fabric dripping onto the carpet. She told herself she only came to listen, to help him figure out his marriage. But now, the conversation wandered into dangerous tenderness. Daniel spoke of loneliness, of how the quiet in his house felt heavier than silence. His voice was soft, familiar, like the calm before confession. Claire felt her resolve dissolving. Every word between them had weight, each silence heavier still. In the dim glow, she wondered, when two people lie to themselves at the same time, is it still betrayal? Or just longing in disguise? By midnight, laughter had returned, cautious at first, then genuine. They spoke of everything but what mattered. She told him about her failed engagement. He told her how routine had turned to emptiness. When their eyes met, the air seemed to still. Yet beneath that fragile calm, guilt coiled like smoke. Claire thought of Daniel's wife, of the lie written in the hotel ledger, and of how easily affection can become temptation. The clock ticked past 1. The city outside was asleep. When Daniel reached for her hand, she didn't pull away. For a moment, neither spoke. The air thickened with what couldn't be unsaid. Then her phone buzzed. A message flashing from his wife's number. Her stomach turned. A single line. He said he needed advice. Did he find it? The world seemed to tilt, their reflection trembling in the window's dark glass. Silence replaced every excuse. The hotel felt suddenly too small, too real. Claire stood, gathering her coat with shaking hands. Daniel rose, trying to speak, but she cut him off with a single look, not of anger, but of sorrow. Some truths, she whispered, don't survive daylight. Outside, the rain had stopped, leaving only the sound of distant waves. As she stepped into the corridor, the question lingered like perfume. What if betrayal was the only way to survive? Morning bled through the blinds like judgment. Claire Duval sat at her kitchen counter, the cold light bleaching her features as if daylight itself refused to forgive her. Her phone lay face down, silent but heavy with unsent messages. Every ring of the kettle sounded too loud, every creak of the apartment door an echo of that night. Daniel hadn't called. She'd promised herself she wouldn't either. But silence wasn't peace. It was punishment. The reflection in the steel kettle showed her a stranger. Hair disheveled, eyes rimmed in red, a woman who'd traded clarity for a night of comfort. Outside, the city carried on, indifferent. Her conscience, however, didn't. Would the truth lose its power if no one ever found out? At the law firm, everything looked the same, except her. The polished floors reflected a woman trying too hard to seem composed. Her assistant's greeting felt distant, Daniel's empty office across the hall unbearable. Every click of her heels down the corridor sounded like a secret she couldn't bury. She kept her gaze low, rehearsing professionalism while her pulse betrayed her calm. Then she saw the message slipped under her office door, a hotel receipt, folded twice. The handwriting on the envelope was hers. Someone knew. The note inside was blank except for one printed receipt. Hotel Mirabelle, room 407. No signature, no message, just proof. Claire's pulse spiked. She closed her blinds, scanning the street below through narrow slats. Every passerby felt like a threat. Every reflection in glass a watcher. She thought of Marcus, the desk clerk, his curious glance, his memory of names. Panic took root. She couldn't afford a rumor. Not in her position, not when she was being considered for senior partner. The line between private and public life blurred like condensation on glass. By evening, she drove back to the Hotel Mirabelle. The same neon sign flickered against the misty twilight, mocking her courage. Inside, the lobby was quiet. Too quiet. Marcus stood behind the counter, recognizing her instant. His smirk was subtle, but the silence after her greeting said everything. "Looking for something you left behind?" he asked, voice casual, eyes calculating. "A mistake," she said softly. But when he slid a manila envelope across the counter with her name on it, her blood turned to ice. "Someone dropped this for you," he murmured. In her car, she tore open the envelope. Inside, photographs, her hand covering Daniel's on the bed, his face turned toward hers, both unaware of the camera. A note fell out last. "Tell him it's over before his wife finds out." Her throat tightened as headlights from passing cars flickered across the photos, bringing them to life like ghosts. Betrayal had a new witness, and whoever was watching wasn't finished yet. The rain began again, slow and deliberate, like the start something that couldn't be undone. The photographs lay spread across her kitchen table, each one a confession she never spoke. Claire Duval hadn't slept. Every creak of the apartment felt like a whisper. Every passing car a threat. She burned one photo in the sink, watching its edges curl to ash, but the others remained untouched, mocking her restraint. There was a precision to whoever did this. Someone who knew not only what happened, but what it meant. She thought of Daniel's wife, of how easily this evidence could shatter 3 lives. Her reflection in the dark window looked older, harder, as if the truth itself had aged her overnight. Somewhere between guilt and fear, a new question surfaced. Who was she really protecting now? Him or herself? At the office, Daniel waited. He looked worn, shirt rumpled, tie askew, eyes bloodshot from a night spent waiting for a call that never came. When she entered, he didn't smile. The tension between them was no longer charged with longing. It was raw fear. "Someone knows," she said quietly, placing the envelope on his desk. His hand hovered over it, trembling. "Anna," he whispered. Claire shook her head. "Not yet." For a long moment, neither spoke. The world outside continued, phones ringing, keyboards clicking, while their lives collapsed in silence. By late afternoon, Claire parked near the waterfront, unable to face her apartment. The city skyline shimmered across the gray water like a mirage. She sat motionless, the sound of waves sensing with her heartbeat. In her rearview mirror, a car idled half a block away, dark sedan, windows tinted. She watched it for minutes, waiting for it to move. It didn't. Her chest tightened. Fear, real and physical, crawled up her throat. The world seemed suddenly smaller, her choices fewer. The sedan finally pulled away, slow and deliberate, as if to remind her she was being watched, not hunted. Yet, that night, she couldn't stay still. Every sound drew her to the window. Then, a knock, soft, once, twice. She froze. The third knock came slower, deliberate. She opened the door a crack to find a small envelope on the floor. No one in sight. Inside was a printed photo, her standing at the waterfront earlier that day, the same car behind her. The message beneath read, "Stop pretending you're innocent." Her vision blurred as the truth sank in. Whoever was behind this wasn't guessing. They were with her. Sleep abandoned her. Instead, she pulled out her laptop, tracing every possible trail. Hotel logs, phone records, camera angles. Then she found it. A security camera feed from the hotel lobby time-stamped the night of the reservation. There she was, stepping through the lobby doors, and behind her, entering seconds later, Anna Keats, Daniel's wife. Claire's breath caught. The camera froze on Anna's calm, unreadable face. Maybe the game hadn't begun with blackmail at all. Maybe Anna had been watching since the beginning. The next morning, Claire's hands shook as she scrolled through the footage again. Anna Keats, calm, deliberate, walked into the hotel like someone who already knew the ending. She didn't confront, didn't speak. She observed. Claire felt the chill of realization spread. This wasn't about jealousy. It was control. Anna hadn't lost her husband. She'd baited them both. The thought left a metallic taste in her mouth. Every move since that night felt orchestrated, every silence planned. When the doorbell rang, Claire froze. She already knew who it was before she opened it. Anna stood in the doorway, immaculate in a cream blazer, not a trace of anger in her eyes. "You want answered Daniel's calls," she said evenly. "So I thought I'd stop by." Claire's mouth went dry. Anna moved through the apartment with quiet authority, glancing at the photos on the counter. "I didn't come to fight," she added. "I came to tell you what you've started." The words hung in the air, weighty and sharp. Claire realized then. Anna wasn't here to accuse her. She was here to recruit her. "Daniel lies to both of us," Anna said, pouring herself coffee like she owned the room. "But I don't destroy what's mine. I manage it." Her calm voice unnerved Claire more than any accusation could. Anna slid a folded document across the counter. Divorce papers, unsigned. "He'll come to you today," she murmured. "Confused, guilty, wanting to confess. Let him, then decide who you really are." Claire felt her pulse in her throat. The game had changed. The rules were written by the woman she betrayed. Daniel arrived that evening, eyes haunted, voice fragile. "She knows," he whispered before she could speak. Claire wanted to tell him everything. About the envelope, the photos, the threats, but the memory of Anna's calm gaze held her still. Instead, she listened as he confessed how distant his marriage had become, how the night at the hotel had felt like a rescue. When he reached for her, she stepped back. "You're being played, Daniel," she said softly. "And I think we both already lost." When Daniel left, the apartment felt colder than before. Claire sank to the floor beside the table, the divorce papers still where Anna had left them. A faint vibration buzzed on her phone. A new message. Unknown number. He told her everything. "Now it's your turn." Her heart thudded in her chest. Through the window, headlights swept across the wall, followed by silence. The city exhaled, unaware that somewhere in its heart, a reckoning had just begun. Morning crept in muted and gray, a light too soft for the kind of truth it carried. Claire hadn't slept. Her thoughts spun in circles. Anna's precision, Daniel's desperation, and her own complicity tangled into something unrecognizable. She scrolled through her phone again, the message still there, untraceable. The weight of inevitability pressed against her ribs. Someone was steering all of this, and she was trapped in the middle. The kettle hissed. She turned it off before it boiled over, staring at her reflection in the window. Two Claires staring back. One who wanted to confess, and one who'd already gone too far. At the firm, whispers followed her like perfume. Daniel had called in sick. His office was sealed by blinds. The envelope she'd left on his desk was gone. As she moved down the hallway, the partners' meeting room door cracked open. Inside, Anna sat across from the senior partners, smiling like she belonged there. Claire's pulse spiked. Anna wasn't just watching anymore. She'd infiltrated. She turned before anyone saw her, her heels clicking faster, her reflection flashing in the polished floor like shards of a broken mirror. By nightfall, Daniel called. His voice shook, not from guilt, but realization. "It wasn't just us," he said, breath ragged. "Anna planned this." Everything. He explained how she'd manipulated their marriage, his career, even the hotel reservation. She wanted to see who I'd be when I fell, he murmured. Claire's throat tightened. And me? She asked. A pause. You were the test. Static filled the line before it went dead. The silence that followed was worse than truth. It was understanding. Later that night, Claire drove again. Not to the hotel, but to Anna's house. The gated driveway gleamed under rain. She sat in the car for a long time, watching the lights flicker in the upper windows. Inside, a silhouette crossed the glass. Anna? Phone to her ear. Voice calm, deliberate. Claire's pulse thundered. She wasn't here for revenge. She was here for clarity. For the first time in weeks, she felt steady. She stepped out of the car and walked toward the house, rain sliding down her face like absolution. Anna opened the door before Claire could knock. I knew you'd come, she said, voice quiet, almost kind. Inside, everything was curated perfection. White walls, no clutter, no trace of emotion. Claire stepped inside, soaked and trembling. Why? She asked. Anna smiled faintly. Because truth isn't enough for some people. They need to watch it break. She turned her back, walking deeper into the room, her reflection splitting in every framed surface. Claire stood in the doorway, realizing she hadn't been ruined by love. She'd been studied by it. The air inside Anna's home felt too still. The scent of white lilies, thick and deliberate. Claire stood at the threshold, water dripping from her coat, forming small crescents on the marble floor. Anna poured 2 glasses of wine with the precision of someone who never lost control. You think I enjoyed this? She asked. You think I wanted to catch him? Claire's breath hitched. Anna turned, eyes sharp but unreadable. No! She continued, voice lower, colder. I wanted to see if I could make you both tell the truth without saying a word. The statement felt less like confession, more like victory. For the first time, Claire understood. Anna didn't just orchestrate betrayal. She curated it. Claire sat reluctantly, the stem of the wine glass slick between her fingers. You sent the photos, she said, not a question. Anna tilted her head, smiling faintly. Marcus helped. Everyone has a price. The casual cruelty of the words made Claire's stomach twist. You wanted to ruin him, she whispered. No, Anna said. No one wanted to come in, I said. She sipped, unfazed, but didn't expect you to fall for him. That part, that was disappointing. Claire felt something inside her harden. Maybe the only way to win against someone like Anna was to stop playing by her rules. The storm outside built to a roar, wind pressing against the glass walls. You don't scare me, Claire said suddenly. Anna's smirk faded. Then why are you shaking? She replied softly. Silence followed, electric and dangerous. You think you can destroy him without consequence, Claire continued. But you've already lost him. Not to me, to the part of him that stopped fearing you. Anna's expression flickered, just for a heartbeat, revealing something almost human. Claire stood, setting her glass down. You can't own people, Anna. You just lose them slower. Anna's laugh was quiet but hollow. You talk like someone who still believes in redemption. She walked to a drawer, retrieving a sealed envelope, her heels echoing on marble. This was my insurance, she said, placing it on the table. But I don't need it anymore. Inside were the remaining photographs. Originals, untouched. You'll take them, she said, and you'll leave him. She said, and you'll leave. That's the only way this ends cleanly. Claire stared at the envelope, the edges trembling in her hands. And if I don't? She asked. Anna's gaze sharpened. Then we both burn. Claire left the house with the envelope clutched tight. Rain soaking her hair and clothes until she couldn't tell where her tears ended, and the storm began. In the car, she opened it. The photos were gone. Only a single line remained, typed on crisp white paper. Advice given. Decision pending. She laughed then, sharp, breathless, almost free. Anna hadn't destroyed her. She'd forced her to choose. As thunder cracked above, Claire started the engine. The rear-view mirror caught her eyes. Not broken, not pure, just real. A week had passed since the night at Anna's house, but the world still felt heavy with unfinished echoes. Claire Duval had stopped checking her phone, stopped rehearsing apologies to no one. The envelope lay sealed again in her desk drawer, untouched. Not out of fear, but resolve. The past couldn't be rewritten, only accepted. She'd left the firm, her resignation short and precise. For personal reasons. Outside, the city moved on without her, its noise distant, its light indifferent. Yet for the first time in months she felt a strange calm. Not the peace of innocence, but the stillness after surviving truth. Daniel showed up unannounced, rain still on his coat, though the day was clear. His eyes carried exhaustion that no sleep could mend. "She filed for divorce," he said softly. Claire nodded but didn't speak. "I wanted to say I'm sorry," he continued, voice breaking. She looked at him, really looked, and saw not the man she'd once waited for, but someone trapped between guilt and gratitude. "Don't be," she whispered. "We both got what we asked for. Just not what we wanted." When he left, he didn't look back. Some endings don't require witnesses. 2 days later, an unmarked package arrived at Claire's door. Inside, a key, no note. She recognized it instantly. Room 47. Her first instinct was to throw it away, but something inside whispered differently. That night, she drove back to the Hotel Mirabelle. The lobby was empty, freshly painted, the smell of newness masking its ghosts. She rode the elevator alone, the hum of machinery echoing memories she'd buried. When the door opened, the room was unoccupied. Stripped, silent, waiting. She left the key on the nightstand and walked out without turning around. Anna watched from her car across the street, the faint glow of a cigarette cutting through the dark. She'd expected confrontation, maybe guilt. But what she saw instead was acceptance. For the first time, Anna felt something unfamiliar. Exhaustion. Control had always been her armor, but tonight it felt like weight. She exhaled smoke into the cold night air and dropped the cigarette into a puddle. In the reflection, her face looked human again. Flawed, tired, almost free. Maybe she hadn't destroyed anyone. Maybe she'd simply revealed what they already were. Weeks later, the ocean stretched endless and indifferent before Claire. She stood barefoot on the cold sand, wind catching strands of her hair, the taste of salt sharp on her lips. She thought of the hotel, the photographs, the voices that once dictated her choices, and then she thought of nothing at all. The tide reached her ankles, washing over footprints she hadn't realized she'd left behind. Some stories don't end with forgiveness or revenge. Some end simply because they've told the truth. And in that truth, however fractured, there is finally quiet.